Welcome on in, everybody. Day 8 of the Fresh Start server, and I hit max level 2 days ago. It took me 1 day to gear up. It was so fast. I'm surprised how fast it was. It was super quick to get the artifacts. The drop rate on those guys has definitely been increased from where it used to be. And then the rest of my gear I just bought off the trading post, and I'll be honest, I'm pretty sure people don't know the value of some of the gear that they're listing on the trading post because it cost me 10K to put together my whole build, and half of that money was spent on just one item. So in today's video, I have a full build guide for you guys, tons of PvP footage in the first half, and a pretty detailed look at the build in the second half. And we're looking at the build at this stage of the game, 8 days into the Fresh Start server. So if you guys are just starting the game and you're looking for something to kind of follow along with, or just to kind of get an idea of what you should be looking for right now, because I know that the end game stuff is really nice, but some of it is not necessarily within reach at this stage. So yeah, you guys can see that in this build guide, and on top of it, there is a written guide down below that shows off the fully fleshed out version. So if you guys are curious kind of what you want to aim for long term with this build, it's there for you too. Anyhow, before we get to the gameplay, I just want to talk about the journey. So where we left off, I was just about level 65. I continued along the main story quest, finished that. It was crazy amounts of fun. I'll be honest, I don't love questing, but I'm glad that it's done because now I don't have to do it again. And then I went and I did Brimstone so I could finally unlock the Elysian Wilds. Now, I also went and I made sure I did the Heart Rune quest in Brimstone so I could unlock my Heart Rune. Once I got to the Elysian Wilds, the first place I went to, of course, Montrapala. And on my first kill. Oh, yes. That was really nice. So, yeah, 1 kill of Montrapala. We're done with that. I came over to this boss here to try to farm the Featherweight as well. I was not as lucky with this guy. It took me, like, I think 6 to 8 kills. I don't really remember, but either way, I did get the Featherweight, but it didn't matter because I ended up getting the boots from my 3rd OPR that I did. My 4th OPR dropped the Koya's knee guards. So I never even bothered leveling up or working with the Featherweight at all. But yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That artifact drop rate is so much better now than it used to be. I am super surprised how easy it was. I have both the OPR artifacts in 4 games. That's wild. Anyway, let's get into that PvP commentary. Huge combo on that poor guy. I throw down the trap and I catch him with it, and then I hit him with the riposte, and oh man, that's like the worst place you could be. So that heavy attack does a ton of damage to him. And then I head inside, I start working the spawner, and the next, or the same guy ends up respawning. I just keep light attacking the post here, and I rotate around it with evade. He gets a couple pokes in. As soon as he's close enough to hit me, I do manage to get that riposte. He turns around with the cannon, lets loose the big boy damage. Oh my god. But I do flesh behind him and get that backstab. And then make sure I heal up a little bit before I keep attacking this thing. I don't want to get caught with my health low. And I do take it down, but it looks like the second player managed to get the spawn in there in time. The guy with the flail jumps out, and I get huge damage on him as he goes out there. And unfortunately, another player comes in, so I just back up a little bit, and they both chase me up the stairs right away. This guy has the Void Gauntlet. He actually does a few nice swipes on me, and I turn around. I do get some damage there with my shot that heals me a little bit from the guy that was in the trap. And a big mistake there. I swap to the musket bar and then go in the hard reload. I should have kept the rapier out. But yeah, I got lucky. Nobody shot me. These 2 players end up coming around the corner. I get 2 really good shots into the greatsword player, but she has got that range block, and these guys get on top of me. There's the riposte. I get both of them. Nice damage with the rapier. I go for the flesh through. The healer goes down, and then she's got that trolley point guard on the greatsword just blocking with the heavy attacks, and she's gonna hold that block, man. So I just load up the heavy attack in front of her. We don't have to win that trade. We just have to put a little bit of damage in to finish her off, and she ends up going down. Moving on to the next clip here. I had so much fun in OPR today, guys. Seriously, I'm surprised how good this build is. One of the things that this build has from a previous iteration, as you can see here, are those healing over time, 314 ticks. And that, my friends, is the Healing Breeze perk. It now works again, and we can proc it with Tumbler Boots on this build. So That is a huge deal for early PvP. At this stage of the game, it is so hard to get a full set of shirking heals, and PvP, man, having something like shirking, oh my god, the damage. Oh my god, that was so much damage. But having something like shirking heals goes a super long way to keeping yourself alive. Imagine if every time I dodged one of these attacks, I healed like 2k health on the spot. That's what a couple of shirking heals could do for you. So having this healing breeze procced from the tumbler boots is, yeah, it's the only reason that I have any survivability in these fights. It allows you to just kind of take the attrition of the longer fight and not get worn down as quickly. Ideally, having all those shirking heals will help a lot, but I don't know, man. It's not like the build has bad survivability. Definitely really good damage, and the mobility plus the healing we have goes a long way. Oh my god, man. I love that trap. In OPR, it's so much fun. You just throw it as people run around the corner, and the second they step on it, oh, it's so bad for them. And I head out towards these two guys here. He goes with the spear. As he comes around the corner like that, I'm just kind of waiting for it. I know he's going to lead with an attack, so I want to bait it and get the riposte on it. And then I turn around again. The spear player does not step in the trap. He's too wise to it. And then I go for the riposte just on cooldown there. Kind of risky. He might have got the stun if I hadn't got that. And a nice little proc on the heal there as I dodge. And yeah, that fight ends up just kind of dragging out, and that was the only exciting part of it. Moving on, I did get some nice world PvP today, guys. I ran into this group, and a couple of these faces you might see are familiar, and these guys killed me a bunch of times, but this was the best result I had against them. Either way, they're all killing these gorillas here. I jump on top with the musket, and as they kind of converge on me, I try to back up, and I try so hard to put damage into the lower health player there, but unfortunately I missed the shot, and then I jump down, and only the healer follows me down. This is perfect. The group is split up, and the healer is alone. Oh my god, this is exactly what I want. I'm panicking, I'm whipping my shots around, both of them land. There's the riposte. I go for the heavy attack into the light attack evade, go for the flesh. I mean, I'm just trying to unload as much damage as possible. And there the power shot lands. Oh my god. You know what, guys? My aim is not amazing, and I know if I land those shots, it makes a huge difference. So that's one part. I want to keep playing a lot of musket and just practice that aim, because it is going to make a big difference long term. Either way, I head up to the top here. These guys are waiting for me. This guy waiting inside. And I'm not even gonna lie, I'm so happy how quickly we could take him down there, because it was such a struggle to kill anybody while that healer was alive. And now it's just me and the blunderbuss flail and shield player. But this is kind of scary. This guy's hitting me for like 200 damage per pellet on the blunderbuss. So even with the nerf damage, if he's using the lock-on, I really don't want to get close to that. The mobs are on top of me here, so I just kind of back out a bit to kill the mobs and see what he's gonna do. And would you know it, after him and his friends beat me up so many times, it's finally just me and him, and he's gonna try to run away. He comes around, so I chase him for a while, and we pull a bunch of mobs. He goes in that corner there, and I just end up killing all the mobs. I don't want to let this guy get away. He ends up trying to climb up here. I tried climbing up there to get to him. I know he won't be able to get in there, and there is the riposte on the bomb on the ground from the blunderbuss. Big damage on the heavy attack, and yeah, I keep wearing him down as best I can. I gotta be careful, a full face full of pellets. Oh my gosh. But I trap him in the corner there. There is the riposte, and oh man, after dying so many times to them, that felt good. Alright guys, let's take a look at the build, and I'm just going to let you guys know that there's a fully fleshed out version linked down below on my website, and it shows you guys what you want to kind of get gear-wise at endgame or what to aim for. I will show you guys what I have now as well, and this will be a good kind of intermediate to aim for now. I think if you're like me and you're just starting out on the Fresh Start server, it's very hard to get all of that endgame stuff at the moment, but within a few weeks, we should be able to get those things. Anyhow, starting off with the attribute points, 100 Constitution. We are playing a very high damage Musket Rapier setup, so any more than 100 Con I think is too much. I don't know, you could go 150 honestly if you wanted, but I think having better damage helps out a lot for the playstyle of this build. You could go even less if you wanted to, but I really like 100 because it allows us to hit just about 14k health. And then we've got 150 intel for that increased elemental damage, super important for the damage on this build. And then dexterity, we benefit a lot from these jump points here, but the important one that we have is the weapon swap to remove all stun and root crowd control effects. This is essentially our stun break. Super, super important for PvP, especially since we don't have stone form yet. This is a really big deal. And if this build was fully fleshed out, we would have 350 dex to have that additional crit chance while empowered, and then I would start putting points into intel to just keep stacking it from there for more damage. Anyway, taking a look at the weapon mastery. If you guys have checked out my previous versions of this build, they were finished weapon masteries, so not a lot has changed. We have got traps fully fleshed out, the first two of power shot, and then powder burn fully fleshed out. Of course, we want that lethal combo, huge amounts of additional damage if something's affected by a musket debuff. That includes the burn from powder burn, so if we hit something with a powder burn, it's going to take huge damage. And then, of course, we go for as many offensive passives as I can here. Really important to get that hustle for the additional movement speed and tactical reload for the quick reload to give you that really snappy shot. And then you roll for the quick reload and then second shot. Really nice burst like that. And then the Rapier as well. I went back to the riposte tree because riposte seems to be working fine. Today, I don't know. Some days it's not working. Some days it is. I do like trying out Flourish and Finish, and I did try Flurry a little bit. These are both great options if you don't want to go with riposte. But for the most part, Flash Evade, super great for the Rapier. This is a finisher build, and you guys are going to see I have committed a cardinal sin on my Rapier bar, so please forgive me. But ideally, we would have a bleed on the Rapier. We don't at the moment. Yeah. Momentum's really useful, though. Lots of additional damage there, and this is my favorite way to go for a Rapier tree for the most part. Now, let's take a look at the equipment. Starting with the Rapier, I have got a tier 2 focus gem on here. Now, it doesn't matter what tier this gem is. It's just important that we turn half of this into some sort of elemental damage, and I've chose to go with nature. Otherwise, we've got the finisher. I got this on my first try, as you guys maybe saw in the footage, so I was really happy about that. The big thing we need here is to upgrade it at the gypsum kiln and put Keenly Jagged on it. This just allows us to play the finisher with basically any Rapier kit that we want and still have it be very effective. So yeah, that definitely needs to happen. Otherwise, we would also put a Rune Glass gem on here. Again, if you guys want to see that fully fleshed out endgame stuff, that would be the way to go, and there's a link to it down below. And then for the musket, I got a really good musket. I got lucky with this. My entire build, I paid like 10k for. It was really cheap. The musket was like a few hundred gold. Refreshing power shot, Keenly Jagged is the must-have here to get some damage from that finisher harmony against a bleeding opponent. And then, of course, Vicious. Vicious is okay, but the ideal perk here would be some sort of attunement, namely something like Nature Attunement. The Syncretic Musket is the end goal here, which would be Nature Attunement, Keenly Jagged, and Refreshing Power Shot. You could go with a different weapon perk if you want here. I really like Refreshing Power Shot because if you land a power shot, it's like 2 or 3 seconds and you get another one. So for the sake of Musket Burst, you can deal crazy damage in a very short period of time with this perk. And then let's take a look at the jewelry. I got insanely lucky with the jewelry. Again, I bought everything on the trading post, and I would recommend you guys do this as well. Just look on that trading post and see what you can find. The necklace is pretty good. Stamina recovery and health. Shirking Debilitating Cleanse is crap because I'm in light armor. We can't actually do anything with this. That being said, this isn't an awful place to start. I would like something like Thrust Protection big time if I could get it here. And then taking a look at the next piece, let's talk about it. We got Hardy, Healing Breeze, and Purifying Heart. Purifying Heart, I don't love. That I would rather have something like Nature Damage. But outside of that, this is perfect. Hardy, absolute must-have for light armor. And then Healing Breeze. This was nerfed in the previous patch, and they didn't allow it to, or they didn't allow you to proc it on yourself. Now you can proc it on yourself again, which is amazing because this is a huge amount of healing power that, especially Musket having super high weapon damage, that you get access to. But we can actually easily proc it with the Tumbler's Feet Wrap. So anything like Shirking Heals or that's Shirking Blessing from Tumbler Feet Wrap will proc Healing Breeze. This is, I don't know, if you guys want to play solo PvP, I think Healing Breeze is an absolutely amazing choice because of the durability it adds. On this build, we heal around 200 to 250 health. I don't know why it fluctuates so much, but that's 7 ticks of 250 health. That's a huge amount of incoming health. That's like almost 2,000 health. So yeah, this helps make up big time for the fact that we don't have any Shirking Heals yet, and a lot of people at this stage will not have Shirking Heals. So I'm going to reiterate this again. For the ring, you guys absolutely aim for Hardy and Healing Breeze, and then whatever other third perk you can find is fine. But just Hardy, Healing Breeze are the two that you must have. For this build, I would like Nature Damage, but, you know, we can't have it all. Moving on to the next piece, I have got the earring here. Refreshing Toast, Healing Heart, and Regenerating. Now, I would like to go with the Endless Thirst artifact instead, but I don't have access to this, unfortunately. And I won't have access to it until we get to the mutation dungeon for it, and that's not in rotation right now. So anyone on the fresh start will also not have access to this. For now, I would switch out Healing Heart for Healthy Toast, simply because Healthy Toast is going to give you a lot more additional healing power from those mana pots. And the big issue we have with PvP early on is the lack of supplemental healing power, especially if you're solo, because we need those Shirking Heals perks. So yeah, going for as much healing as possible here is the way to go. Sometimes people are tempted to go refreshing. Don't. Just try to pack on as much healing as you can. Unless, you know, unless that's what you get what you get. And then moving on to the gear here. So I have got a mix of stuff here. The ideal perks would be something like Elemental Aversion, Refreshing, and Shirking Heals for the armor. Now, of course, I'm not going to have that. That's a ridiculous ask for this early game. So I have prioritized a few different perks for this stage of the game. Freedom, Refreshing, Elemental Aversion, and finally Health. Those are the 4 perks that I think are going to be the cornerstone of early game PvP for me. And so far I had good results with that on my build. So I think that's honestly the way to go. And the nice thing is, because we don't have Shirking Heals kind of taking up another perk slot, we can easily pick up some weapon perks here. And Accelerating Traps is an absolute must-have for this build, so you can put the bleed on the trap and also get that movement speed bonus, a huge part of your survivability. So yeah, I would recommend getting this for sure if you can on your armor pieces. Otherwise, the Freedom is great. The next piece here, we got Freedom Refreshing, just like I said. Shirking Fortification, we'll get what we can get. Thrust Conditioning, not amazing. Otherwise, we got 2 out of the 2 perks out of 3 that I mentioned that I want. On the legs, I really like Shirking Energy. Freedom, Shirking Energy, Refreshing. This is actually an awesome leg piece, so I got really lucky with this buy for sure. And last but not least, we have got the Tumbler Feet Wrap. Refreshing, Physical Aversion, Shirking Blessing. This, again, will proc Healing Breeze on the ring. Not only that, but Shirking Blessing is worth way more than 1 Shirking Heal because it has a 1-second cooldown. So you'll see in the footage, sometimes it'll proc back to back to back in a very short period of time. In that case, it's worth 3 Shirking Heals. So yeah, a very, very powerful armor piece, especially because of the synergy we get proccing our other heal. Now, something else that this gives, the Fortify and Empower, also super nice. Seriously, the Tumbler Feet Wraps are an insanely good artifact piece. And then for the jewelry on here, or the gems, sorry, you can see I've gone for 15% thrust resist with 3 emeralds, and then everything else is an opal to give me 12.5% elemental resist across the board. We are really kitey and really mobile, so you shouldn't be getting chewed up by melees too bad on this build. If you feel like you're getting hit too hard, you can switch up your resist a little bit more. That being said, Hatchet is a menace right now, so some slash resist would not be a terrible option. Now, I did get the Heart Rune, as you saw in the footage earlier. I would like to go for the Stone Form Heart Rune here, but Cannon Blast is fine. I guess it's a little bit more additional pressure. And then last but not least, we got the Health Potion, the Regen Potion, and the Hearty Meal. And that is it, everybody. That's the build. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed. I'm streaming live on Twitch if you want to catch any of that good stuff from me. And of course, there is a written guide to this build on my website showing off the fully fleshed out version of it. Have a good one, guys, and I'll see you next time.